नमस्कार, गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल। विश यू वेरी हैप्पी न्यू ईयर 2022। 2022 आप सभी के लिए बहुत अच्छा रहे, ऐसी शुभकामना। 2020 की बात करें, 2021 की बात करें तो काफी तकलीफ और काफी बुरी यादों वाला साल रहा, लेकिन 2022 दोस्तों आप सभी के लिए अच्छा हो। स्वास्थ्य की नजर से, हेल्थ की नजर से, हेल्थी और वेल्थी रहे, क्योंकि आज के टाइम में कोरोना ने बताया है कि आपकी हेल्थ है, हेल्थ है तो जहान है आपका, पूरा जहान आपका है।
हेलो।
और हेल्थ नहीं है तो आप के पास जितना भी जमा पूंजी है, प्रॉपर्टीज है, रियल सब चीज है, कोई उसी की कुछ किसी की कुछ वैल्यू नहीं है। तो दोस्तों मैं आपका होस्ट और दोस्त सुनील शर्मा स्वागत करता हूँ। दोस्तों जैसा कि 2022 1 जनवरी है, आप तो मैं आपको प्रभु से खास बात में आज हम लोग ऑनलाइन जुड़े हुए हैं। तो दोस्तों न्यू ईयर है 2022, तो शुरुआत करते हैं। पिछले 2020 की बात करेंगे, जब स्टार्ट हुआ था कोरोना वेव में, इंडिया में प्रवेश किया था, दुनिया में तो प्रवेश कर दिया था उसके पहले, लेकिन 2020 से लेके अभी तक हम बात करेंगे 2022 मार्च तक। हम लगातार वेबिनार और ये ऐसे प्रभु से खास बात डिजिटल पर 2 साल पूरा करने जा रहे हैं। और उसी स्पिरिट को लेकर मैं यही कहूंगा दोस्तों कि आपका सभी का साथ रहे, और साथ ही आप सभी के लिए जो लाइव देख रहे हैं यूट्यूब पे और वेबएक्स पे जो लोग जुड़े तमाम, उन सभी का मैं इस खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ में स्वागत करता हूं और प्रे करता हूं कि दिनों दिन आपकी खुशियां हो जाए दुगनी, दिनों दिन आपकी खुशियां हो जाए दुगनी, आप सभी की जिंदगी से मिट जाए सभी गम, आप सभी की जिंदगी से मिट जाए सभी गम। खुदा रखे आपको हमेशा स्मार्ट और तंदुरुस्त, खुदा रखे आपको हमेशा स्मार्ट और तंदुरुस्त। आप सभी के लिए नया साल हो सुपर डुपर हिट, आप सभी के लिए नया साल हो सुपर डुपर हिट। ऐसी खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ में मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं। यूट्यूब पे जो तमाम लोग देख रहे हैं उन लोगों का, साथ ही वेबएक्स पे हमारे साथ जो जुड़े हुए हैं। प्रभु के खास बात लाइव शो जो हमारा आज 54 एपिसोड, 54वां एपिसोड है, 1 साल से पूरा हो चुका है हमारा दिसंबर में। तो प्रभु से खास बात लाइव शो में आज बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है दोस्तों, जो आपकी प्रॉपर्टी रहती है, प्रॉपर्टी से आप क्या उस पे उस खोजे, क्या तलाशी करें ताकि आपकी प्रॉपर्टी सेफ और श्योर हो और आप इसको परचेस करने जा रहे हैं। तो आपके बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है ये, और बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण है। जो अनुभवी जो हमारे स्पीकर्स हैं, लीगल एडवाइजर हैं, महासेवा पैनल के मिस्टर एड्रिस मिरांडा, वो बताएंगे सचेस फॉर इनकम्प्रेंजेंस इन प्रॉपर्टी। ये टॉपिक बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण है, एक्सक्लूसिव है दोस्तों, कि अब जब आप प्रॉपर्टी लेने जाते हैं तो हर एक डिपार्टमेंट में जो जो डिपार्टमेंट से गुजरेंगे आप, रजिस्ट्रार से सिटी सर्वे नंबर और तमाम विषय को लेकर जो सर्चेस होते हैं, सचेस होते हैं, जो खोज होती है कि प्रॉपर्टी कैसी है, क्या इस पे लाइबिलिटीज है, क्या इंकरोचमेंट है, जो भी है, जो भी सवाल, जो भी दावे हैं, वो प्रॉपर्टी पे आपको मिलने चाहिए, आपको हक है, क्योंकि आप वो प्रॉपर्टी लेने जा रहे हैं। तो सभी डिपार्टमेंट में ये ऑफिसेस भी होते हैं। तो इस महत्वपूर्ण टॉपिक के लिए संपत्ति का जो खोज अतिक्रमण से है, तमाम जो दावे हैं उस पे कैसे तलाशी करें, कैसे खोज करें, ये तमाम विषय को लेकर आ रहे हैं हमारे साथ आज के जो कीनोट स्पीकर हैं, एड्रिस मिरांडा। प्लीज वेलकम मिस्टर एड्रिस मिरांडा। एड्रिस मिरांडा साहब के साथ यही कहूंगा कि ये काफी अनुभवी हैं और काफी सारे जनप्रतिनिधि का पीए सीएस करके, पीए स्वकीय सहायक करके, पीए करके काफी काम किया है, काफी अनुभव रखते हैं, लीगल एडवाइजर। और अभी हाल फिलहाल महासेवा, महाराष्ट्र सोसाइटी वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन, सीए रमेश प्रभु जी के साथ में एज ए लीगल एडवाइजर काम कर रहे हैं और अनुभवी हैं काफी। तो मैं इनका स्वागत करता हूं इस खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ में कि हाँ, ठीक है साहब, ठीक है, आप हाथ दे रहे हैं कि आप जो खुशबू, देखो सेंट की बात हो रही है, इत्र की बहुत बात चल रही है देश में, हमारे देश में इत्र सेंट की बड़ी चर्चा चल रही है। आप सब समझ गए होंगे कहाँ का इत्र है, कहाँ का सेंट विश्व में और दुनिया भर में महसूस होता है। और वो सेंट तो सेंट है, खुशबू देता है। आप उसके पीछे अच्छा काम करो, बुरा काम करो, ये आपका वो है। तो मैं यही कहूंगा कि अच्छे लोग कोई तारीफ के मोहताज नहीं होते, अच्छे लोग जो होते हैं वो तारीफों के मोहताज नहीं होते, क्योंकि फूलों पर इत्र नहीं लगाया जाता, क्योंकि फूलों पर इत्र नहीं लगाया जाता। और इत्र का जैसा जिक्र हो रहा है देश भर में, तो हमारे जो शख्सियत हैं मिस्टर एड्रिस मिरांडा, वो भी ऐसी शख्सियत हैं कि इनका जो काम है वो काम ही बोलता है, इनकी जो जानकारी, इंफॉर्मेशन, वो ही बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। और वो जानकारी आप सभी लोगों को बड़ी ही इत्र के समान खुशबू देगी, फूल के समान खुशबू देगी। तो मैं ये चाहूँगा आगे प्लीज़ वेलकम। और दूसरे हमारे जो मॉडरेटर हैं, तो मैं चाहूँगा कि हमारे जो सहयोगी हैं मिस्टर एस्टिन पिंटो, मिस्टर ए पिंटो, वो आगे आपके सभी लोगों के जो सवाल एडवांस में आए हैं, पहले हमारे जो सवाल प्रभु से खास बात में आते हैं, तो वो हम पहले सवाल लेते हैं, तो लास्ट में मिस्टर पिंटो सवाल भी लेंगे। तो उनका भी मैं स्वागत करता हूँ मिस्टर एस्टिन पिंटो का। और सर स्वागत है आपका। और हमारे पुराने सहयोगी हैं और ये पिछले 2-1 साल में तो पूरा जुड़े रहते हैं, लेकिन हाउसिंग गुरु रमेश प्रभु जी को फॉलो करते रहते हैं। उनके तमाम जो नॉलेज सेमिनार्स वगैरह बड़ी ही बेकरारी से सुनते हैं, नॉलेज लेते हैं। ऐसे मिस्टर पिंटो का स्वागत है। और तमाम आप जो यूट्यूब पे लोग देख रहे हैं, ज्यादा समय ना लेते हुए मैं ये जो महत्वपूर्ण सब्जेक्ट है दोस्तों, आपकी प्रॉपर्टी की सचेस है, वो किस तरह से आप जाने, तो वो महत्वपूर्ण सब्जेक्ट को लेकर हमारे ब्रीफ देंगे, जानकारी देंगे मिस्टर एद्रिज मिरांडा। प्लीज वेलकम मिस्टर मिरांडा।
Good afternoon to everybody and Happy New Year to you. We are taking a topic such as search today. Today we'll be taking this topic of search. To start with, searches could be of different types. Usually a property search is done to ascertain the title to an immovable property, which may correctly reflect that a particular property stands in the name of an individual or an institution in government records, but that does not guarantee that the said property is free from all encumbrances and has a marketable title. Merely a property standing in your name or in the name of your firm or whatever, company or trust or society or whatever, that does not guarantee that the property is free from all encumbrances, because there could be a host of encumbrances. What do we mean by encumbrance? Some difficulty, something puzzling, something where there is no clarity in respect of the title of the property or otherwise. The property could stand in the name of a person or an institution, but there could be a charge on the property. Charge in the sense a penalty, a fine, lien, or some other legal impediment to it being free from encumbrance. Therefore, merely taking search of title shouldn't suffice. सिर्फ टाइटल जांच करने से प्रॉपर्टी क्लियर नहीं हो सकती है। तो उसके प्रॉपर्टी के टाइटल के सर्च लेने के बावजूद और बहुत सारे सर्च लेना, छानबीन करना पड़ता है। सो because present day property transactions are very complicated. See, in as much as at times it is just one person selling a property to a next individual, or sometimes purchasing it is an individual who's purchasing. At times it is a builder or developer who's purchasing. At times it is a society that is purchasing, and at times it is a trust that is purchasing, or some company that is purchasing. It could also happen that the company is selling the property, wherein the company is a vendor and someone else is a purchaser, either an individual or another company or another institution. Or there could be mergers and acquisitions in a company. For that purpose, you'll have to check the title of the property. You may have to check the title of a property for a host of reasons. Now, let us say some property is being purchased, irrespective of what the transaction is. Nobody wants a white elephant. After having made a phenomenal investment, because today property prices run into crores of rupees, and sometimes some transactions are thousands of crores of rupees. So you just can't play around with it. One slip and you land in litigation. Had I been entrusted with a search, I would proceed to follow a table designed by myself. I'll show you the table after some time. I'll upload it. as a thumb rule. First, I'd search 612 and then 712 revenue records at the office of the Talati, Surveyor, or Tahsildar respectively. My next search would be at the office of the sub-register of assurances. Every city or a part of a city has a office of a register. Register meaning REGISTRAR, registrar, or and there are sub-registrars for city, mofusal, etc. Or suburban areas, you have a sub-register. There, in the office of the sub-register, there are various things that are registered, various deeds that are registered, sales, lease, leave license, mortgage, gift, lispendency, testamentary. So all this you will find in the office of the register of assurances. Leave and license also, yeah. So if you want to take a proper search in respect of a property, the sale deed will have been registered over there. If it is lease, the lease deed will have been registered over there. If it's a mortgage deed would be registered over there. So all these documents and all these sort of deeds are registered with the register of assurances of a particular city or part of a city. Then you can also have a further check. Another check for there not being any encumbrance would be taking check with various authorities such as the Gram Panchayat in Mofusal. If it is a city, it will be municipal council, or in a major city, metropolitan city, it would be municipal corporation, like in Greater Bombay, Municipal Corporation of Greater Bombay. Big cities like Calcutta, Delhi, Bombay have a municipal corporation. Others are smaller cities have municipal councils, and smaller than that is a Gram Panchayat. So these are the respective authorities that grant permission for development of the land. Development could be various type of development. Development you can have, you make it a farmhouse, you convert it from agricultural to non-agricultural. Sometimes you put up an industry, sometimes you put up buildings, schools, colleges, whatever, factories, whatever. So development could have a very broad spectrum of meaning. And these are the authorities that are instrumental in granting permission. So you have to check that as well. Because sometimes some lands are not permitted for a particular use or cannot be used for whatever purpose. Then you check with CITCO, you check with MAHADA, you check with SRA, you check with the forest lands. The forest lands again are private forest and government forest. Somebody might ask, what do you mean by forest lands? Yes, forest lands are lands that have been declared as a forest by a state or by the center. You cannot do anything other than agricultural, carry out agricultural work in those areas. And there are private forests also. Then you have the CRZ. The CRZ again is divided into two. You have ports, PORTS, ports meaning you have a seaport, docks and small things like that. There are small ports, major ports and minor ports. And apart from the ports being divided into two, you also have the coastal zone regulations. Yeah, it starts from your revenue records. You have Form 6, Form 7, what we earlier called 612 and 712. Actually, it is nowadays it is Form 6 and Form 7, and it is also available online. Then you have sub-register of assurances. Your sale, lease, mortgage, gift, lispendency, testamentary. So these are the documents that will be registered at the office of the sub-register. Now, why do we need to take a search of these documents? Because somebody might sell a land to you and the matter may be sub judice before some court. So you don't have a clear title as such, even though you have entered into an agreement, your agreement is registered, you have paid the requisite stamp duty, yet you don't have a clear and marketable title, in the sense the person who sold the land to you if he loses the case, which is sub judice before any court, obviously you lost the case because you don't have title ab initio. Right from the beginning, you have not had the title, proper title, and therefore you stand to lose. So you have to check whether any litigation is pending before any court, and if litigation is pending, it is mandatory for the vendor to register that the litigation is pending, or the interested party rather, to mention that the litigation is pending. So that comes on record in the office of the sub-register. And the person who's going to purchase, the purchaser or intended purchaser, it is his duty to scrutinize his documents before entering into any purchase agreement. Thereafter, he cannot raise a claim. He is stopped by the rule of estoppel by taking a claim that he was not aware of this litigation, because it was incumbent, it is a duty cast on him to take a proper search. Same with testamentary. If something has been, if property has been given to a particular, if a particular property has been given to, there are two brothers, for example, and the property has been given, it's not an ancestral property, property acquired from self-earning. It is given to B, say A and B are brothers. If it is given to B, and if A sells that property to you, obviously the sale is bad in law. Now this how you'll find out as to who the property belongs to and who is entitled to sell it. Who has the right to sell that property? Obviously B has the right to sell that property because it is a testamentary document has been registered in his name. No doubt you have to take probate and other things are there, succession and this and that, various other things are there to be done. But nevertheless, it is conclusive that the property has been given by the testator to B. And if A has sold it, then that sale itself is bad in law. Now this you'll find out if you take a search. Therefore, the search is essential. Same thing with the gift. A property has been gifted to somebody. If two brothers are there, just take the example as such. Two brothers are there, and one A is one brother, the other is the B. The father donates gives the property to B, and A sells it to you. For whatever reason, if you take a search in the records of the revenue records, you will not find. You will find it in the name of the father and not in the name of the sons, until they have intimated the office of the Talati and other revenue authorities, making an effecting a change on the demise of the father, and they have to adduce evidence to show some documentary evidence that the father has expired and this is a gift deed registered in my name or whatever. If it is a gift, then even though the father is alive, the father has no locus standi to sell the property. Once gifted, the gift becomes the property of the recipient. That is in common law. But in civil law, it is different. Now, let us not confuse this thing by common law and civil law. Common law is what we practice in India. Civil law is practiced in some parts of India. For example, Goa, Daman, Diu, Silvassa, and certain other parts where you have civil law prevailing, up to date. Now, let's not mix that civil law and common law, otherwise we'll create a lot of confusion for the viewers. So, we'll go only by common law. A gift once given becomes the property of the recipient. That is donee. Donor is the person giving, donee is the recipient. So after it becomes that of the donee, the donor has no locus standi to reverse the gift or do anything. And therefore the recipient is the bona fide owner of that property or whatever. So he can sell it, lease it, do whatever he likes. So, but that we'll find out only if we take a search and a diligent search. The searches, supposing a property has been a non-agriculture property has been sold. You cannot develop that property until you get it converted to non-agriculture. This conversion is done at the office of the collector of a district, whichever district it may be. There always is a collector at every district. So you approach the office of the collector and pay a premium on the quantum of land that you intend to convert. You have to pay to the state, and the state grants you permission to convert that land which was otherwise agricultural into non-agricultural. Of course, there are certain terms and conditions that you have to comply with. We won't go into that. Now, forest lands, wastelands. There is something known as wasteland. What we call in normally it is called in Marathi and in Maharashtra it is called as Port Kharaba. Don't mix up Port Kharaba with this. Ports are something different, and Port Kharaba is actually wasteland. It is a barren land. It is a land that cannot be, literally speaking, cannot be used for any commercial purpose. But that is more of a misnomer. It is a mistake. Sometimes Port Kharaba lands can be used for mining metals or for mining earth. Port Kharaba land, therefore, a land that is depicted as Port Kharaba or wasteland is not actually wasteland. It is a land where something might not grow or you cannot construct something, but that does not mean it is totally useless land. So such land also, if it is being leased or sold, usually this wasteland is given for mining by government to certain individuals or certain companies. And if this land is, or at times it is a private land also, if this land is being sold or leased for whatever purpose, you should always check that there is no liability on it, because at times the person having used that land earlier is required to pay to the government certain amount of money as royalty for the earth extracted from there or the minerals that are extracted from there. And if they fail to pay the royalty to the government can attach the land. So if you're purchasing it or you're leasing it, if you're taking on lease, be sure to see that there is no outstanding payment or balance from the original owner or his predecessor. Otherwise, government will attach your land and you will not be able to either mine it nor do anything on it. So these are the dangers involved, and therefore you have to take a diligent search. Talking about the CRZ, which again is divided into major and minor ports, coastal zone, meaning the sea face, and a corollary being rivers, rivulets, creeks, and waterways, where development is permitted up to a certain distance from high tide or any particular day of the year. Then we come to coming to search at the office. Now somebody might say, now this is a new subheading. Why? Somebody might raise the question as to why do we have to take a search at the office of the Labour Commission? How is labor connected with land, say? Yes, there is a connectivity. At least I think there is a connectivity. The reason being, if there is a labor dispute between an individual laborer, individual employee and the company, or between the employees as a whole and the company, there is a charge placed on the company. And if the company is the owner of a land, and that land is being sold, this charge is there on the land, and therefore the land cannot be sold. Because first priority for payment of wages is to employees. Sorry, not employees, but if there is any outstanding payment to be done, first charge to receive payment is by government. So if there has been any default of taxation, etc., if the company is in areas of taxes, direct or indirect or whatever, and those payments have not been honored or they are outstanding, the government is entitled to recover that money by sealing and seizing your properties. If it is a company will the government will seal your property, acquire property, and dispose it of. Recover the monies due to them. If anything surplus will be returned to you. money is to be recovered. Laborers could be a various type of labor. Laborers could also be farm laborers. Now, if they were farm laborers, now coming to the search of labor, one may wonder what has labor to do with lands. Yes, there exists a relationship. If the land was being cultivated by laborers, meaning farm laborers, as per the 1971 Land Reforms Act, tillers became owners by virtue of having tilled a land for many years and continuing to till. Okay, a land at the time of introducing the reforms. That apart, if the land is in the possession, occupation, and in the name of a company, it should be checked. The workers, employees of the company have any labor or industrial dispute, which would entail a charge on the land. Further encumbrance could be encountered if the company owes tax authorities or other government or other parties monies by way of penalties, fine, charge, or otherwise, as that would place, so to say, a lien on the property, which generally is to be recovered by way of attachment and auction. And government has first priority for recovery, followed by laborers, next secured creditors third, and non-secured creditors last in that order. Then we come to if the land belongs to a Hindu person professing the Hindu religion, one would need to check whether she is selling the land in his her personal capacity or in the capacity as Karta, head of an undivided Hindu family. For such is search, one would have to draw out what is called a diagram of a family tree, checking how many interested parties, relatives exist, what is the relationship, how much a proportionate share each is legally entitled to, and the issue of preemptive sale. Now, your preemptive sale also plays an important part. If the vendor is a Muslim, then the Muslim personal law comes into play. In such cases, again, family tree is required to be drawn and proportionate share of each entitled heir as envisaged by table in Mohammedan law needs to be examined. In Christian law, usually females weren't entitled to a share in parental or ancestral property, but as of now, they are entitled to equal share by virtue of Supreme Court case law. But the precautions of checking title and or other encumbrances isn't conclusive. See, it is merely suggestive, depending on other factors such as regional, state, union territory laws, caste laws, etc. When a company is a vendor to an individual or an institution, a search needs to be taken at the register of companies, at the company law board, the appellate company law board, the IBC, stock exchanges, SEBI, all these institutions you will have to check as to whether there is any pending litigation, whether there is any balance payment, whether any fine has been imposed on them, which has not been realized as of now. All these factors will have to be checked. Certain matters go before SEBI, certain matters will go before the company law board, certain matters you will find out from the register of companies. So you'll have to take a diligent search at the register of companies as well. At the company law board, you can inspect the register, which will disclose pending applications, appeals, revisions, reviews, etc. Whether a matter has been referred to the insolvency board, the register and forms are the respective stock exchanges, etc. All that will have to be checked. Thereafter, one can check at the SIC companies recovery board. for pending litigation or any charge. Now coming to tax authority, direct tax, income tax income tax under all heads of income. Search commences from assessment officer to appellate assessment officer, commissioner of income tax. Finally, at the High Court, when the registrar office of the company is direct taxes, duty drawback, reverse charge, pending assessment, TDS, TSC, etc. before the proper officer, appellate authority, commissioner, and the High Court of the state in which the registered office of a company is. Yes, there is another subheading under which we can go further with searching encumbrances. This search is at the courts. At the courts, you can take a search shall include criminal and civil courts from the level of second-class magistrate up to Supreme Court, including quasi-judicial authorities for cost, compensation, outstanding dues, payable fines, sureties, etc. At a court, an individual or a company may have stood surety for another individual or a company, and the matter is either sub judice or disposed. An illegal charge placed on the surety, which has to fructify. To that extent, the immovable or movable property, as the case may be, or otherwise intangible property of an individual or company isn't free from encumbrance because first charge of recovery is of government. While checking property, search of the while checking the title of property, advocates usually take a search. I wouldn't say advocates because most of the time it is not advocates who are doing this, it's just the advocate who's signing it. Lot of law firms, senior advocates, and lot of other private practicing advocates, they merely signed it. They don't take the search themselves. There is something known as search clerk. Various offices you have search clerks. And it is these search clerks who specialize in taking search. Of course, advocates also to an extent know how to take search. But this is a specialized job assigned only to those people who specialize in this. Advocates mostly give the work to these people who are search clerks. They search out the registers at various government offices and they give a report which goes on the letterhead of an advocate who signed it. It's a very tricky situation, you see. In certain areas, when you go to a Tahsildar office or you go to the office of a register to search the clear title of a land, you get such funny, sticky situations like pages missing, pages smudged, pages eaten by white ants, and such funny things you get. Now, if a particular page has been eaten by white ants, or it is smudged because of leakage of water or some spillage of something, or there isn't an entry for whatever reason, how do you give a clear title without scrutinizing those pages? That is the $1,000,000 question that is staring in the face of all purchasers as of today. This is something that will need to be rectified only when people come forward, or rather people in the profession come forward and agitate and set their house in order. Otherwise, you are getting what you are getting is not a proper report, because the title certificate signed by them saying this land is free from encumbrance, etc. I have taken search and I find it is free and marketable. It is not free and marketable. How can you say it is free and marketable when some pages are missing, or when some writing is not legible? So these search reports itself are faulty, and nothing can be done about it because the government, it doesn't want to. The government has so much of lethargy; they don't want to change anything, and the legal profession is equally to be blamed because they don't want to have a brainstorming session and to agitate over anything to rectify or remedy anything. As things have been working, let it work. Somewhere in down the line, we have to streamline the working. If not for us, at least for the future generations. Advice for properties in some regional states of India and union territories, as there exist special laws in areas such as Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Kashmir, Daman, Diu, Silvassa, Nagar Haveli, Goa, where the state or union territories law has a overriding effect over the law applicable to the rest of India. So this factor also will have to be taken into consideration. Then you have another factor. Then we come to certain lands that just cannot be sold due to reservation for certain caste or priority to preempt sale by virtue of testamentary jurisprudence prevalent over there. Therefore, caste and religion, etc., also play a vital role, vital part as search, as far as search is concerned. See, conventional search is 30 years. Normally, any advocate would take a search of 30 years and give a clear search report that I have seen, checked the records for the past 30 years. I find this land to be free from all encumbrances. The land has a clear title, it is marketable title, etc., and they sign and give you on the letterhead. But I would advise taking a search for 35 years to be on the safe side. Now, this 30 years, somebody might question you as to how you come to the conclusion that 30 years is an appropriate amount of time for taking a search. Only 30 years backwards. See, 12 years is a limitation period for certain recoveries, and 18 years is the limit when a person becomes a major. So his rights will accrue at 18 years. And assuming there is any recovery to be done or some litigation on which places a charge that can be executed over a period of 12 years, that makes it 30 years, 18 and 12. So this is the criteria for coming to that magic figure of 30 years search. But in certain cases, the search would, in my humble opinion, it would mean 35 years search would be a most effective search for all practical purposes. Because certain lands get encumbered after 32 years. Now, don't ask me which, because I cannot tell you that. Here, it will jeopardize the publication of my book. I lose my copyright. Yeah, then there is another tricky situation as far as searches are there. However much good search you may have taken, sometimes some encumbrance will not figure out in the search. It cannot be traced out in the search. For example, of course, it is very rare nowadays, but technically it is possible. If a property has been sold for less than 100 rupees, so today you cannot sell a property for less than 100 rupees. But in the event, if a property has been for whatever purpose been sold for less than 100 rupees, that document need not be registered with the office of the registrar. So what happens to such properties? That again is $1 million question. How is this to be resolved? Don't ask me. Jurists have to come together and find some way out, because that if that property which is of less than 100 rupees is sold by A, sells it to B, and somebody claims it from B saying that I am the owner of it, there's going to be litigation. If not litigation, then arbitration or mediation, whatever. But some dispute is going to arise, because that sale is a perfect sale, even though the party purchasing it might have checked the register, all the registers at the office of the sub-registrar, yet they would not find it because it will not reflect there. Such a sale is not mandatory to register even the property value is less than 100 rupees. Of course, this is a hypothetical thing, sort of. Today it doesn't function. But if somebody wants to play mischief, they can always do. So I'm just cautioning you. Sometimes some properties come into the possession of some people by virtue of adverse possession. So how are you going to trace out the title to that property? Does his adverse possession be registered anywhere? Give it a thought. A person illegally using a property over a period of time becomes the owner of the property by virtue of adverse possession. Now, how does one trace out that? because there is no register where you make an entry for adverse possession. It is merely his claim based on his documents. So these are some of the things that I would like to highlight. There's lots and lots I can talk on the subject.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, Mr. Pinto, please.
Let's take a few questions that have come in. Okay, just give me a second. I'm just scrolling to check the questions that are there. This question is from Advocate Prashant Jain, okay, from Goregaon East. He says, how long is a public notice given in newspapers workable for knowing encumbrances status of a property? Does it have any legal value if someone comes forward after a long period, supposing 6 months, and claims right on the property? What will be the benefit for the public notice given in court?
Who should be answering this? Myself?
Yes, yes. These questions have come based on your presentation today.
Okay, sir. I'll try to the best of my ability to satisfy, but I cannot guarantee you that I can satisfy everything. It is not as if I'm omniscient. I do have my limitations. Yes. Simply inserting a public notice is no guarantee. Is no guarantee of there not being litigation and there not being a claim. Claims can come in spite of the litigation. It is just to manifest the bona fides of the person of the person purchasing the property, that there is no encumbrance. He inserts an advertisement as a precaution in 2 different papers circulated in the area where the land is located in 2 different languages, one local language and one English. This is a sort of precautionary measure just to invite the attention of the general public, to manifest his bona fides, that he's not trying to do a transaction in the dark. So to that extent, he can get support from the court. But that support is not a conclusive support. The court shall not presume that no claim can come pursuant to that advertisement, pursuant to the period assigned in the advertisement. If a period of 1 week is there, or 15 days is there, or 1 month is there, the court may entertain a suit or a petition or complaint or whatever, application or whatever, depending on facts and circumstances of a particular dispute.
Okay, so what I have given to understand that even later on, this if there is a suit that is created, it can be entertained.
It can be entertained. You have to satisfy the honorable court that there was a genuine reason for oversight, or some handicap was there. You are not being able to file your objections in time, or it did not come to your notice, or some genuine reason should be there. And if the honorable court is satisfied, the court may entertain your petition. There is no fixed hard rule.
Okay, I will go to the next question that is there. This is based on the record of the Registration Department Index 2. Especially old OBE is in a bad condition. How can the buyer assure himself in this situation that property is free from encumbrances? You did touch a little bit on this topic when you talked about.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
As per the record of the Registration Department Index 2, especially the old OBE is in a bad condition. How does the buyer assure himself in this situation that the property is free from encumbrances?
Obviously, you have to take all the searches. You'll have to take search of the revenue records. You'll have to take search of various other, depending who's the landlord of the property, whether the property is belonging to a company, whether the property is belonging to a trust. If it is the trust, then you'll have to take at the Charity Commission's office. And then you have to check the annual reports.
Okay, fine. The next question is, what is and how much legal value of certificate of non-encumbrances is issued by the advocate?
That is the most unrelevant I'm not joking. I mean it seriously. That is the most unreliable thing in India, at least. I don't place any reliance on that. These certificates are being issued left, right, and center. I have had occasion to see thousands of certificates where they say everything is okay, and it is in perfect condition, saleable, with marketable title, clear from all encumbrance, signed, sealed, everything, and they give you on their letterhead. But thereafter, 101 problems crop up. Now, what is to be done? The legal fraternity should sit down together and brainstorm and come up with some solution.
Actually, some of these questions are being posed by Mr. Advocate Prashant Jain, and I think between the two of you, this is in a lighter note. Between the two of you, maybe y'all can start a forum, to get these things.
I don't want to say anything against the advocate fraternity because they get so sensitive and get offended so easily. I better shut my mouth.
That's why I said on a lighter note. Okay, I'll go in for the next question. The question says agreement registered under MOFA and RERA both make it compulsory to attach search certificates from the advocate. My question from the gentleman is, how long it gives guarantee to the buyer that the property is really free of encumbrances?
If you're based, I think this question
Is related to the one earlier. Yes. Yes.
No, Mr. Prabhu will be able to throw light on this subject. He's an authority on the subject. He's written a book on this, and he's president, chairman of the federation. So he can give you good insight on this.
Mr. Prashant Jain, if you're online and if you're listening to this, then my suggestion is that you can get in touch with the office. They will give you Mr. Prabhu Jain's Ramesh Prabhu's office, and they will give you a clear-cut answer on all these on this particular topic.
But if I may say that search that you're talking about, actually, I wouldn't trust the search reports that are given to the RERA. So RERA merely takes a report, and on the basis of what is written in the report, it takes it to be the gospel truth. They don't verify anything. They just upload it on their site.
Okay. Okay. Fine. I'll take the next question. If any bail is taken on the flat, is it necessary to have clear bail charge from the honorable court before sale or permanent alienation?
Yeah, this is a very important question, a nice question. Nobody usually asks this question. And nobody talks about it, nobody thinks about it. So who's this person who's asked this question?
This is the gentleman's name is Advocate Prashant Jain.
Yes, again, a very, very learned friend, I should say. Brilliant and learned friend. Okay. That is very much necessary to clear the charge for the bail. If you stood surety if you stood as a surety for any accused in the court, it would be necessary for you to withdraw from that surety, or that case is closed and won and things like that. Then and then only that property would be free from encumbrance. Otherwise, that would be a Damocles sword hanging on your head. Whoever's coming in as a purchaser should be careful. And that search you will get only at the courts. You will not get in any revenue office or any municipal office or anything. You will get that only in the courts.
Fine. There are a couple. I think there is one more question that is there. It says,
I hope I can answer.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure. It says, how does adverse possession work?
Does adverse possession work? Adverse possession, everybody knows. People putting jhopparpatti on the footpath, and then they say, I've been living here for 30 years. And therefore, I am entitled as of right. First, they do something in breach of law, and then they try to invoke the law. I've been staying here for 30 years, therefore I am entitled to stay here as of right. Because 30 years have passed, so that is how you abuse the law.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from as far as this is concerned. Yes, I think that's the end of the questions that are there. I don't see any more questions that are on the
I
chat.
hope I've done justice.
Very much, very much. You know, and I'd like Mr. Sunil Sharma. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Pinto, and thank you, Mr. Miranda. Mr. Miranda, one big question for common people. Uh, uh, आपने जो चार्ट बताया, जो डिटेल में चार्ट बताया,
जी,
वो लोग पब्लिक जो जो फ्लैट या प्रॉपर्टीज या कुछ भी 15 से लेके 40, 50, 60 लाख तक जो भी प्रॉपर्टीज लेना चाहते हैं अफोर्डेबल्स में, तो वो कहाँ ये सब चीजें नॉलेज रखेंगे या कंसल्टेंट के लिए वो लेके जाएंगे? तो उन लोगों के लिए क्या होना चाहिए? यूनिफॉर्मिंग सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को क्या करना चाहिए? अभी ऐसे इस तरह से कुछ पीएल भी हुआ है कि यूनिफॉर्म एग्रीमेंट होना चाहिए बिल्डर टू बायर्स और बायर टू बिल्डर्स, ताकि लोगों को जम्मू कश्मीर में प्रॉपर्टी लेनी हो या यहाँ पे लेनी
hello.
हो।
I did not understand what you're saying actually. I did not get exactly what you're saying, what you want.
मिरांडा सर, मैं ये जानना चाह रहा हूँ लोगों के लिए कि जो प्रॉपर्टीज लेना चाह रहे हैं और वो सर्चिंग में नहीं जाते हैं, बहुत मैक्सिमम नहीं जाते ना केसेस में। आप 5%, 10% केसेस होते हैं जो सर्चिंग निकालते होंगे, बाकी तो नहीं निकालते। तो उन लोगों के लिए क्या ऑप्शन है? ऑनलाइन डिजिटल्स वगैरह पे क्या कुछ ऑप्शन है? जैसे रेरा है, रेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन में प्रोजेक्ट वो जा सकते हैं, बाकी
Bina?
क्या केयर करें?
Bina purchaser.
From
Hello.
what I understood from Mr. Sharma's question is that
Yeah.
a number of people don't go in for the actual search. Okay.
यस, करेक्ट।
Yeah.
So what exactly are the options for people like that if they don't want to go through a proper search? Is there any other platform that can give them that online platform that can give them that type of answer to their
No, it is very dangerous if you put your money into something, your hard-earned money, if you put into something which is going to fly away from your hands. You have to be careful. You are purchasing something. You are investing your money. You should take it into this. It is in your own interest that you take search.
But is there any
Yes.
other platform that is there that you can that a person
like
as an individual?
Mr. Pinto, like RERA, Maharera online, all projects and all detailed progress reports and all builders reputations, RERA. Like another platform, these online digitals, जैसे MCGM का है ऑनलाइन डिजिटल, तो वहां पे जाके दे सकते हैं। ऐसे कि डिजिटल पे कुछ है ऐसी चीज ऑनलाइन जो गवर्नमेंट की अथॉरिटीज है उन्होंने ऑनलाइन कर रखा है, वो ऐसा कुछ?
To my knowledge, I don't think there is any platform such that you can get all the information. You have to
Digital.
dig out
Not-
you have to dig out information from various platforms. When it is matters pertaining to companies, you go to the company law board, you go to the register of companies. There you check
Right.
for any breaches by the company, etc. If it is a trust property, you check with the charity commissioner. If it is a charitable property or a private trust, then also it comes under charity commissioner, the office of the charity commissioner. Then if it is society, then you check with the register of societies. If it is for some other property, different type of platforms are there for different purposes. But that does not give you a conclusive search. There is no such thing as a conclusive search. There is an element of risk. You can minimize the element of risk. You cannot dispense with it.
यस, थैंक यू वेरी मच मिस्टर मिरांडा। मैं चाहूंगा यूट्यूब पे भी कुछ सवाल हैं, तो एक मिस्टर पृथ्वी हैं, वन क्वेश्चन फॉर रीडेवलपमेंट डू। तो मैं चाहूंगा हमारे जो सहयोगी हैं राकेश पवार, वो प्लीज शेयर करें लिंक पर, यूट्यूब लिंक पर हमारे महासेवा के नंबर
I
और
will
मेरे
take the
नंबर,
question.
ताकि Yes,
Uh,
yes, sir.
Mr. Prithvi, if you are online still, actually the question is not relevant to today's topic, so that's why I did
नहीं
not
नहीं
take
नहीं.
that question.
यस मिस्टर
So,
पिंटो, वो बुक से रिलेटेड है, उनका बुक
yes,
से
yes.
रिलेटेड उन्होंने मेल किया था, बट
Okay.
रिप्लाई नहीं हुआ. तो मैं चाहूंगा कि ये जो नंबर शेयर कर रहे हैं महासेवा के ऑफिस के नंबर्स और मेरे व्हाट्सएप नंबर, प्लीज मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज करें. आपको वो जो बुक है कंपेंडियम ऑफ द रीडेवलपमेंट एंड सेल्फ रीडेवलपमेंट, सुभाष लाला आईपीएस ऑफिसर और सीए रमेश प्रभु जी द्वारा जो लिखी हुई बुक है, वो कंपेंडियम आपको मिल जाएगी विद डिस्काउंटेड. तो प्लीज मैसेज करें आप मुझे, या फिर मैं ऑफिस के नंबर पर फोन करें, वहां बात करें. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Mr. Prithvi, just take the numbers, okay, and if you get in touch with with the office, they will surely give you whatever is required. Okay, thank you.
यस सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आपने एक एक्सक्लूसिव टॉपिक हमेशा लेके आते हैं आप मिस्टर मिरांडा. प्रभु से खास बात लाइव शो में दोस्तों, ये 54 एपिसोड है. आप इसे लाइक करें, और लाइक करेंगे तो हमें पता चलेगा कि हम किस तरह से हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन रहा, हमारा काम रहा, हमारा वर्किंग रहा. तो एमएनएस मीडिया न्यूज सर्विस और महासेवा की तरफ से आप सभी को धन्यवाद. और साथ ही मैं कहूंगा आप मिस्टर मिरांडा का जो चार्ट है, लोगों की डिमांड है, तो प्लीज सेंड करें मुझे मिस्टर मिरांडा. जो
Yes,
चार्ट
sir.
आपने बनाया था, मुझे पीडीएफ में है या आपके पास जो भी है, लोग डिमांड कर रहे हैं कि वो चार्ट की उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स है.
जी,
जी,
बिल्कुल.
तो ओके. तो आपका कैसा लगा आज का प्रभु से खास बात? आप लाइक करें और कमेंट करें नीचे कमेंट्स बॉक्स में, और इस वीडियो को ज्यादा ज्यादा शेयर करें दोस्तों. हमारे पिंटो सर का खूब खूब धन्यवाद, शुक्रिया, आप जुड़े.
Thank you. Thank you.
ये वक्त जो है
Thank you.
थोड़ा सा सावधानी का है, तो मैं आप सभी से चाहूंगा कि अपना इम्यूनिटी सिस्टम बरकरार रखें, बनाए रखें. और जिससे होना ये है कि आप इस जो ओमिक्रॉन है या कोविड-19 के जो अलग अलग वेरिएंट आ रहे हैं, उससे बचे रहें. और आप सावधान जितना रहेंगे, जितना आप बचे रहेंगे, तो आप सभी जागृत रहें, सावधान रहें और अपना ध्यान रखिए. आज के लिए इतना ही. आपके दोस्त होस्ट सुनील शर्मा को दीजिए इजाजत. नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र, जय भारत.